Alright, for my assignment I decided to do a database that would be a financial tracker for somebody, just not for a business or anything, but just for somebody who wanted to keep track of their monthly finances. So I have three tables. I have the category table, the user table, and a transaction table. Here in the category table I have two attributes. I have the category ID, which is going to serve as the primary key. It's going to uniquely identify each category name. And then the category attribute itself is the name of the category. The category ID also serves as a surrogate key and as a candidate key. It's a surrogate key because it doesn't hold value outside of this database. The user would not look at this and recognize it as anything other than something that is used to manage data. And it's a candidate key because it's possible to uniquely identify each record here, each row, by the category ID number. Here in the user table you have a user ID, and then you have several other attributes, last name, first name, and so on. The user ID in this serves as the primary key again. Also, it's a surrogate key and a candidate key, just like in the category table. You could make a composite key out of this table using something like a first name, last name, cell phone address. You could combine several of these fields and make a composite key, but it wouldn't be a very efficient way of managing your data. So it's much more efficient to use something like the user ID column here. The prime attributes, if you were to make a composite key, would be those attributes that make up that that key. So last name, first name, cell phone, address, something like that. Those would be your prime attributes. They're what contribute to that composite key being a unique way to identify each row. Let's see, going on to the transaction table here. The transaction ID is your primary key, surrogate key, and candidate key. You have category ID and the user ID here. These are pulled in to just assign the category and to let you know which category this transaction belongs to and which user made the transaction. So these are both examples of foreign keys that are seen in other tables. And the transaction, these are just other attributes. These are not keys in any way. I wouldn't make a composite key out of these or anything like that, because it's possible that you could have a transaction taking place at the same date and location for the same amount of money. An example is if you were to purchase an app on the App Store, it costs 99 cents, and you bought two apps in the same day from your living room. So in that case, it wouldn't be a good key at all. It wouldn't uniquely identify the transaction. So these would be non-prime attributes because they don't belong to any candidate key, and they're not going to be able to uniquely identify a transaction or any record in the database. Let's see. Natural keys. We actually don't have any natural keys in this database, but in a different scenario, or if we had set this up differently, this transaction ID could possibly be a natural key. For example, if the transaction ID were to represent the actual number of transactions that had taken place, then it would be meaningful to the domain, and it could be considered a natural key in that instance. But that's not what's going on here. As you can see, we have the transaction ID is 4, yet it's the first transaction, it's the first record in the table. So it doesn't actually represent the total number of transactions that you had. So in this case, the transaction ID is only serving as the primary key. Beyond that, I think we covered everything. So you got your foreign keys, the primary keys that serve to uniquely identify each asset. These are also surrogate keys, as they're not representing anything outside of the database. And these are our foreign keys here. They're all candidate keys because they're capable of representing data uniquely. They're capable of representing each row. Natural keys, we don't have any, but we explained that this could be a natural key in some instances. Composite keys, as seen here, combining these fields, and prime and non-prime attributes are the fields here. and non-prime are here.